Hello and welcome back. This is Grillenheimer. I've been working and we had started the Krampus movie from 2015, Michael Dougherty's version, while I'm working, and we had started it the other night. I didn't get to finish it, and so started it where I left off, and after the first, when the teenage girl gets taken, and I'm spoiling stuff. If you haven't seen it, you need to see this movie. Or I think so. Not everybody liked it. The way they marketed it a little like it was a real traditional horror movie, and it's not. It's a dark family comedy Christmas movie. Many people think, oh, it just didn't hit all the right things right. It didn't do this right. It didn't. I like it. I really enjoy this movie. That I can relate to the family setup, the gathering, the players or the family that come together and they don't like each other and you're nitpicking at each other. And, word of warning, if you do have young kids, and I debated about letting my kids see it a few years ago, and they were a little younger. They're teenagers now. And it did give my son a few nightmares, apparently, but that he was good about dealing with on his own. That, because he's the youngest, is that it does have some language in it, and it's, not too dissimilar from, say, Christmas Vacation or something to that caliber. And it has a very good mixture of Gremlins and Christmas Vacation mesh together. And a lot of people didn't know what to make of the movie because of the way it was marketed. It's not a horror movie. It is a dark Christmas comedy in the vein of, say, like an old comic book of the early 80s. And I really like what Dougherty did with, if I'm pronouncing his name right, and it was dedicated to his deceased grandmother. If you watch it to the very end, through the end of the credits, which I advise you to do that too. And when I watch this movie by myself, I get teary-eyed, especially when the women start getting taken. Now, no one is really officially killed. They almost do kill the mother. And I'm like, that's when you're like, whoa. But, keep watching. There's some intense moments. Again, not true horror. And once you find, there's a lot of things in this movie that don't make sense on purpose. Okay. I'm going to be a little politically incorrect here, because the movie is a little politically incorrect too, because they take a quick little jab. They don't dwell on it too much, about Democrats versus Republicans. Just a little, just a smidge. They have, just a touch of that. And then they also touch on, and they never make fun of Christianity. Now, there's a lot of pagan stuff that they did with the movie musically, aesthetically, for the look of Krampus and his minions, which is just amazing. They did as many practical effects as they could. There's one character that could not be a practical effect, and that's pretty obvious to see. And they still did a good job with that too. Because there's so many impossibilities in this movie. It's comic book fare. You have to, and the actors are all very believable. They pull you out of your little couch and make you go, wonder, what is really going on. They don't understand what's going on. Max eventually has an idea. Whoa, maybe I am responsible for all this at a certain point in the movie, especially when he actually sees Krampus when he's looking at his binoculars. And he's the first one to notice there's a snowman in the yard. Who built the snowman? It doesn't matter, just a lot of neat little things that, again, don't make sense. And it's very Charlie and the Chocolate Factory meets Christmas Vacation and Gremlins, because they start taking the kids first, as in the vein of the original Krampus, Krampusnacht storyline of the shadow of Saint Nick. If you look at, do that research, you will see a lot of the postcards that the Austrians did. That is my lineage. Did we ever all learn of this? No, none. When they came to the States, they left all that on the other side of the pond. They didn't bring it with them, which was probably a good thing. But I think the visual of Krampus came first which could have been the inspiration for the visualization of Satan and Lucifer. But if you look at some of these old, recent old various postcards online, you will see some just funny stuff. You're like, what were these people thinking? Well, they're trying to get their kids in the right place, trying to get their kids to act right, And St. Nicholas wasn't here to give them toys. They were living in the mountains. It was a very harsh environment. It was very harsh times. We can't imagine what those kind of people, that people from that era, just 4 generations ago or more, had to deal with. And because of that, kids are going to be kids. Kids haven't changed. Bad behavior hasn't changed in millennia. Okay? We can even take that takeaway out of your Bible. If you read the Bible, believe it or not, and I do, and you're like, bad behavior, bad behavior, bad behavior, it's a sine wave of going back and forth with the fight between good and evil, is what it is. And you can't say this is completely all alpha male crap, testosterone and all that mess, because the women get their share too of action, especially the ant. I love it when the ant goes nuts. But when the women they're at the truck and in the snake thing, which you never see, takes them, it's just something about that scene in total, because they're at their worst point. They just, not only do they not know what's going on, they don't know why. And they're thinking, why us? And they're just in survival mode. And I just enjoy the movie this much. And so when they get taken, it's a very powerful scene. It really is. Because the kids are crying, the kids that are left, and you just want to cry with them. Adam Scott, when he gets taken, and it's all parts of sacrifice. They're sacrificing for their family because they love them. It's just that simple. I got tree people out here. Just contractors, nothing I've asked for. But impossibilities. Let's go with the realm of possibility and the supernatural, because this is what this movie is dealing with. So, like I said, I was going to be politically incorrect. The fat girl, the big girl. Well, she gets swallowed, and it sounds like the first girl that gets taken, and it does like mimicry, and they're like, Jordan, is that you? Or whatever her name was. And they go, and apparently one of the creatures, I don't want to say too much, swallows one of the girls whole. Well, it's the bigger girl the hole is only about this big, and we see her feet sticking out of it, and I'm thinking, how did it swallow her again? How did it get in there? I mean, you're just like, what? And one of the first impossibilities is the girl getting taken under the truck, under the van. Excuse me, the delivery van in the street, and you're just like, you just see it shaking from the top, and it's a really that's one of the best parts of the whole movie, is her running from Krampus out in the snow. She gets to see him first before anybody else does, of the actors that we see in the movie. And again, just realms of impossibility. How are these people taken? What is being done to them? Where are they going? I think they should have just had one little extra scene of the family being caught, and they're all in the back of Krampus's sleigh, because he has a sleigh too, and you see it in all its pagan magnificent glory at the very end. And we should have just seen them all defeated, wrapped up, freezing, surrounded by the dark elves or whatever, and just still bickering at each other. We should have seen that. That they were, being dragged along through the city, or through the neighborhood, and we should have they should have done that. They should have had that with them just all collectively just defeated, either too cold to talk, too scared to talk, or just knocked out because they were covering them. Especially the toys were dripping this stuff on their face to subdue them, so they could take them. I don't. You have the thought that they weren't getting killed, except for when the one thing almost chokes the mother. But again, she survives too, and they all were going to survive. And that's then another realm of possibility. Well, there's plenty in there. Is Omi. When Omi gets taken, is shortly after another realm of impossibility, when Krampus comes down the chimney. It's impossible. It's a wonderful scene. I love, and horns coming out, and he's crawling out of it, and you're like, how is this happening again? I mean, you have to think outside the box. You just have to think, this is impossible. Well, he opens his bag. All she does, and it's already full of toys and junk and demonic stuff. All she does is look, and she's gone. You don't know if she's in the bag, where she went, etc., etc. Same goes with Howie when he goes up their chimney, and he was a big kid, because he was sort of the Augustus Gloop of the movie, and it's when he gets taken should let you have an idea of the feel for this movie, that you're not supposed to be taking it too seriously. That's a really cool scene too. Let me go ahead and spoil it. I gotta end this. They're hearing the pitter patter up on the roof, and they talking about squirrels and the squirrels' nuts, and then they all fall asleep, and the thing comes down, the chain with a cookie on it. Well, the only thing they have to eat are all these cookies at the beginning of the movie that Omi made. And she's just making, and you see stolen bread on the counter, and gingerbread and sugar cookies and cookies just everywhere. All this baking, she's just been baking to enjoy Christmas with her family, because she lives with her son and his family. Though Max is the center of it all. And when they get home from the Mucho Mart at the very beginning, and we have a taste of what Max could really be like, how nasty this boy can be. Just a shadow of things previous, that he's a troublemaker. And so they come home, and Adam Scott, playing the dad, goes, oh, and he kisses his mom. He goes, no, don't make too many cookies. We bought some at the store. It's like, did you not see the kitchen when you walked in? I mean, there's just so many fun. The humor is in the details. The humor is in the details. The music selection, events happening, impossibilities like, what? Really? And oh gosh, I love that when the toys all just start going after them. And when the mother sees the gingerbread man in the chimney, she's just like, she can't believe what she's seen. She sees something outside of her realm of possibility, her realm of reality, something a little supernatural that has her going, what are we dealing with? And they barely even touch on this: faith, spirituality, Christianity. They mention Jesus once, and it's not even a jab. There's nothing bad about David Koechner's line. It's the truth. He was born in a barn or a stable for the most. I mean, they're not making fun of Christ at all. Just a lot of neat little, it's all in the details. Just all in the details. And it's because those kind of details that's makes the movie. It really did. It really does. The details, music, the actors. It's one of, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Conchette, the lady that played the maid in 2.5 Men, who passed earlier this year. She does a great job. Oh my gosh, she's got some funny parts. But yeah, once Howie is taken, it's the second kid, he goes up the chimney. They're like, all as serious as can be. They're taking my boy. And he goes up the chimney, his shoe comes off, comes back down, and hits the man in the head. Okay, that should let you know this is not a serious movie. It's a very heartwarming movie because it's all about sacrifice. What will you do? If you really love your parents, your kids, your wife, your husband, what would you sacrifice for them? In the worst case scenario. This is what this movie is all about. It is all about sacrifice. And we can try, and a sacrifice is no longer needed to the temple. That's what Jesus did for us. And it's what we celebrate Christmas about, is his birth, is our Savior's birth. We have a Savior. Someone has already saved us. We just have to accept him, whether you believe it or not. And sprinkled slowly and lightly through this movie is not a lot about Jesus, but a lot about faith. Omi's explaining to Max and his cousins, well, what if we've been good all year? If we've done all this and we've been good all, will Santa still come? And Max is translating Omi, saying, well, she says it's not what you do, it's what you believe. And because Max still believed in Santa Claus at the beginning of the movie, in his letter to Santa was proof of his faith. And when he shredded that letter near the beginning and he yelled at his family, I hate you all. That was, and of course, those events happen in the wrong order, the way I said them. But that's what starts everything. He's the one that he's the last hope for Christmas, the last person with any faith in this family, with any belief. And when his belief is gone, and he gives that up, and he gives into his hate, the worst things happen to this family. And through it, the family gets stronger. They come closer together with relatives they didn't originally like in the first place. And I think it is a family movie. I just wish it hadn't quite had some of the language it has. It's not that bad, really, but there's at least one F-bomb. They say SH a few times, but it's got some funny parts. And it's really trying to draw you in to the movie, into these people's situation. They get attacked up in the attic, their own attic. Just a lot of neat realms of impossibility. And they're trying to be as realistic and logical with all this in their minds. And after a while, they don't know what they're seeing. They're disgusted. And they're taken out of their own realm of reality. And when the IMDb message boards were still up before they were taken down, in 2016, just after the movie came out, I believe it was 2016, we were on there, and the message boards for Krampus were very healthy. Very, very healthy. Despite all the other message boards on IMDb at the time. That we came down to, and we could all agree on, what you think the ending of the movie is. And what you think how the movie ends reflects on whether you think the glass is half empty or if the glass is half full. Way too long for a movie review. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. But if you haven't seen this movie, it's different. It's my Christmas movie that I like watching every year at least once. It's my guilty pleasure, if you will. It's just neat. It's different. And again, it makes no sense. And you have to think outside the box. You have to think little paranormal, a little magic, not all obvious, very obviously seen. The Adam Scott and David Koechner, Joni, all of the actors were just great. The little baby is just adorable. And there's a lot of neat behind the scenes on how they made the movie itself as well. The practical effects are wonderful. I feel like I was a part of the making of this movie, and I'm not. I'm just me. So with that, I would suggest checking out the 2015 Krampus by Michael Daugherty. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, and have a very Merry Christmas this 2020. And this new virus will be the least of your worries if you do check out Krampus. Merry Christmas.